Wayne Pratt here. If you enjoy the Gateway, take the next step and support us by going to stlpublicradio.org and making a donation. It takes just a minute and will help keep this daily news podcast possible, as well as all the in-depth news on our website and airwaves. Make a donation now at stlpublicradio.org/donate. Here's today's podcast. From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Monday, March 16th. I'm Wayne Pratt. Government officials throughout the St. Louis region are taking more drastic steps to deal with the spread of coronavirus. They have announced a ban on public gatherings of more than 50 people. Most schools will be closing this week, including those throughout Illinois and in St. Louis County, St. Charles and Jefferson counties, and Rolla. Bars and restaurants in Illinois are being ordered to stop dine-in services. The first positive tests for COVID-19 in the Metro East were announced over the weekend. They are two women who recently traveled internationally. Health officials in Missouri say there are now 2 cases of COVID-19 in St. Louis County. More coverage in a bit. Also today, St. Louis Public Radio's Marissa Ann Lewis-Thompson tells us about efforts to convince Missouri residents to fill out the census. Political and education leaders in the St. Louis region are taking extraordinary steps to fight the new coronavirus. Officials have announced school closures and a ban on gatherings of more than 50 people. These changes affect St. Charles, St. Clair, Madison, and St. Louis counties, as well as St. Louis City, and the school closures are also in Rolla. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page says the measures will slow the outbreak and make sure hospitals are able to help the sickest patients.
We need to make sure that our hospitals have the capacity to take care of them. So it's very important that we spread this out over time and that we slow the infection down as it spreads through our community.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson has also announced a proposed statewide ban on gatherings of more than 50. In Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker has ordered all bars and restaurants to stop dine-in services by tonight. It's part of the effort to slow the spread of new coronavirus disease.
Every choice now is hard, and it comes with real consequences for our residents. But as your governor, I cannot let the gravity of these choices prevent us from taking the actions that the science and the experts say will keep people safe.
That announcement has local restaurant workers and owners scrambling. Here's St. Louis Public Radio's Kay Petrin.
Friday's South Bar and Grill will be closing until April to help slow the spread of the new coronavirus. That's like every dine-in restaurant in Illinois right now. Jason Capitelli is a manager at the bar's Collinsville location. He says 2 weeks without pay will be hard on his employees.
I have employees that are just in a panic just because of, a lot of people don't have a lot of savings or have that kind of cash just on hand to not work.
But he says he trusts that shutting down restaurants statewide will be good for community health. Illinois officials say they're working with the U.S. Business Administration to provide low-interest loans for business owners who are financially hurt by the disease. I'm Kay Petrin, St. Louis Public Radio.
The public gathering limits, school closings, and restaurant shutdowns cap a whirlwind of developments yesterday. But on Saturday, St. Clair County health officials announced 2 women tested positive for the new coronavirus, known as COVID-19, the first positive cases in the Metro East. County Health Department Director Barbara Holt is urging residents to take precautions.
Practice good personal hygiene, practice social distancing of 6 feet apart. If you are sick, call your medical provider first. Don't show up in their office or the emergency room. Our medical providers are very, very busy.
The women who tested positive are in their 60s and 70s. They had been traveling internationally and are now under a home quarantine. State health officials are also reporting a COVID-19 case in Clinton County. The local health department says it involves a woman in her 60s who is staying in the county but does not live there. In other news, the Rolla Regional Economic Commission's new director has an unconventional background. St. Louis Public Radio's Jonathan Ault reports the hire is part of a new approach the group is taking to bringing jobs to Phelps County.
Dale Martin has no experience in economic development, but he was the head men's basketball coach at Missouri University of Science and Technology for 22 years. He says recruiting students to come to S&T is a similar skill set to convincing businesses to come to Rolla. Martin says the first step is better promotion.
We have to do a better job of marketing our city. We need to have one place that comes up on the web that tells you everything about Rolla.
Martin says his primary focus will be on helping existing businesses expand and then cultivating opportunities with people who have some tie to the region. In Rolla, I'm Jonathan Ahl, St. Louis Public Radio.
Missourians are at risk of losing millions of dollars if people do not fill out the census. For months, state and local organizations have been working together to get the word out. St. Louis Public Radio's Marissa Ann Lewis-Thompson reports.
You've probably seen flyers in your mailbox about the upcoming census or ads plastered all over social media, the TV, radio, and billboards. The state is hoping that all of that information sticks. But with all that messaging, there are still people that have no clue about the census. We talked to a few outside of City Hall on a recent windy afternoon.
Nothing at all.
I know nothing.
I kind of don't know what it is. Like, I have an idea that it's something with knowing where everybody is or where they are, but I don't know the exact details.
Not very much, except for that it's happening right now.
The census is more than just something you fill out every 10 years. In fact, it plays a key role in shaping the state's future. This includes Missouri's congressional representation in Washington, D.C., as well as billions of dollars in federal money.
The census data is used to calculate around $16 billion a year in federal funding that comes to Missouri.
That's John Sheichels, the Policy Counsel and Director of Census Operations for Governor Mike Parson's office. He says those federal dollars trickle down into money for roads and bridges, as well as federal programs like Medicaid, SNAP, and CHIP. For every person that's not counted, the state will lose $1,300 per person every year for the next decade. That's $13,000 for one person. Scheichel says back in 2010, Missouri lost a congressional seat.
And luckily, this time around, we aren't at risk of either gaining or losing a seat in the House. But that's definitely something that we remember, and we want to make sure that we are getting the most complete count possible to avoid anything like that in the future.
In 2018, Parson created the Missouri 2020 Complete Count Committee. It's a mix of state government agencies, nonprofits, and businesses. The committee set aside a little more than $500,000 to help with outreach efforts, including the launch of a statewide media campaign. Its messaging was based on an initiative that the Missouri Foundation for Health came up with. Alex Rankin is with the foundation. She says messaging is one thing, but the messenger is crucial, especially in communities that do not trust the government with their information.
The Census Bureau can't share your information with anyone. I think if it were only the government framing that message, it wouldn't really resonate as loudly as when it's, the community organization that's embedded in a neighborhood.
To do that, more than 30 organizations that received funding through the St. Louis Regional Census Fund are working to ensure all Missourians are counted. In St. Louis, Charles Bryson is heading up the Complete Count Committee in the city. By day, he's a director of the Civil Rights Enforcement Agency, and he says it's important to reach those hard-to-count communities, including people of color, children, and immigrants. His committee has been working with clergy leaders, LGBTQ organizations, and reaching into the Black and Hispanic communities to help them educate others about the census.
What it will mean for your community, if there's any questions that people have about how to fill it out, what to expect down the road when we have enumerators going door to door, those kinds of issues. We're here to help you. We're here to provide as a resource, but we're also here to help you help your community.
He says they're also working with St. Louis public libraries and recreation centers for the remainder of March and April. There, people will have access to a laptop every Saturday so they can fill out the census. Bryson says, bottom line, he wants everyone counted.
I want to touch everybody every single way that I can to make sure that they know the census is important to them.
I'm Marissa Ann Lewis-Thompson, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Maria Altman edited that report. Shula Newman is the executive editor of St. Louis Public Radio, music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Wayne Pratt. From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, a design-build company committed to remodeling the right way. Visit callmosby.com to get project inspiration for any room of your house.